Pleasant good morning, one and all. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd day of July 2025. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. Wednesday, middle of the week, and here we are again to bring you another episode, another informative, educational episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Share the live. Let your fellow students know that we are on. I saw, this morning the schoolyard was full to capacity. I believe we ventured into record territory into all those who were in the schoolyard, bursting at the seams. Good to see hundreds just waiting for this 11 o'clock hour so that we can bring you the credible, valuable information. Today, another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. I continue to say it is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should not ever take that for granted. So share the live, and we are going to be with you in a while we give you the little introduction and we give you the little fillers to make sure that you are ready for the learning session. My colleague, Mr. Conway CC, is in the studio waiting for the opportunity to come and bring you good news. And as usual, we have so much to tell you this morning, so much pack agenda again this morning. We have had to sort out and prioritize the stuff that we are going to bring with you. You can remember, we are in this silly season, the political season. I think it's about 40 days away from regional and general elections on the 1st of September. And all kind of things you're going to hear. Oh, Lord, they are out. They're going to bring out all the propagandists, all the sycophants. They're going to come out in the large numbers. And when they come and they gaslight and they bring you all kind of misinformation, come to Speaking Out, we are going to put things in context. We're going to tell you the truth, the old truth, and nothing but the truth. So yes, welcome, share the live. The program was scheduled as is customary now at 7. As we say, the gates were open at 7. And immediately, we had lots and lots of students coming in. Lots and lots. And that's a pattern now. We know it. People just anxious to get there and to await the credible, valuable information. I'm going to fly through the roll call as quickly as I can, make the announcements, and then we're going to go straight into it. First man listed, I got to emphasize, listed, Ulrich from West Dem, listed as the first man in the schoolyard. Vibart, another West Dem man, now in the U.S. Kenneth from Maryland, Peter, Felicia, Marlon, then it was Ezzy, Dexter, Lester, Sean, Earl, Aubrey from Canada, Gibbo, Donald, Brian, Gavin, Jakey is here, Orly. They all came at 7, and shortly after we had Wayne, Carlton, Joan from New Amsterdam, Orin from the UK, Carl, Raul, Gaston from Canada, Tessa, Florida, Kevin, David, Anthony, Bradshaw, Peters all in the East Bank of Demerara, Lyndon, Dorrit, John, Moses, Clifton, Paulette, Pamela, West Dem. Then we have Courtney, Rosalind, Vashti, Pastor Smith is here, Puran, Jacko, Sandra. Then they all came at 1 minute after 7. Then the list goes on. Malcolm, Pinky, Rayburn, Carrie-Ann, BX is here, George, Paulette, Roxanne, Aubrey from Aubrey, Wayne from the UK. Then we have Fergus, Cecile, Clarence, Sydney, Clifton, all the way from Paris, Patricia, Danny, Lincoln, Sean from upstate, the Conor Rookman, Denise from Florida, Joy, Kerry, then you have Benji from Myconi, Uncle Paul, Compton, Ridley the Angel is here, Neville, Rhonda, Ulrich came back, Hazel, then it was Winston, Michael from Mbaimadai, Melbourne, Marcia, Rhonda, then I'm still in the house, Glendis, Ivor, Anthony, Gordon, Carol, Claire, Terrence, Desiree, Lynette from the UK, Gail from Florida, Sandrine Baird. Then it was Father Masha, Terrence from Canada, Siobhan, Eric, 8218, Como, Marva. Then it was Leon, Winslow, Hazel, Harold, Brenda, Bray, Lucius, Kurt, Cloyd, Sheena, Randolph, John. John, you should be at Bisley shooting at the Kings Championship. Hope is here. Annette, Siobhan, David, Diane. Then it was Richard, Magnell, Gavin, Pinky, Boo Alexander, Marcus, Walter, Evelyn, Barbara, O'Neill, Ivelaw from Texas, Aileen, I gotta commiserate with you, man. Licks like peas, West Indies, man. Licks like peas. Emerson, Mary, Maureen, Mark, Mary, John from Tennessee, Michael, Melinda, Ulrich, Dave, Janelle, Isabella, Janella, that is, it should be Janella, Isabella. Then it was Tessa from Florida, Princess Earl, Clyde, then Monica, Deborah, Umi, William, Colin, Raquel, Kay, this is Connolly, Paul, Dion, Vibert from the East Bank of Demerara, Patrick from the UK, he's from London, Clive also from the UK, Lorraine, Queenie, Henrik, Floyd is here, Carl from Arizona, Elton, Leroy, Selwyn, Rasta, Colin, Denise, the secretary, Patricia, Bernadette, Doreen, my squad mate from Canada. Then we have Salima, Marvin. Marvin said, I got good memory. He tear away my head some 13 years ago or some long time ago, 30 years ago, and I still remember. Yes, I am blessed with good memory, and for that I give praise and thanks to the Almighty. I am blessed with good memory. That's like how I remember you tear away my head. I remember breaks you for 4 back past your foot. You have to move your ankle out of the way. Cecil Semple is here. Michael, Glenda. Then it was Ashley, Carlisle, Lorraine, Leslyn, Lyndon. Then it was Edward, Marcus, Vibert, Sharon, Wayne. That's a new, looked like a new person. I can't recall seeing this student before. Phil, Derek, Roxanne, Michael, Owen, Alex, then Westmas, Neola, Lennox, then Margot, Mark, Trevor, Smitty is here with us, Brennan, Tamo, Dion, Alwyn, Nicola, Joseph. Did I get Joseph there? Joseph, Asani, George, Cedric, Danny, 8219. So we have 8218 cover badge and 8219 Daniels in the class. So nice to see that. Roderick, Angela, Cranston, Jormian. Then it was Orville, Alista, Angela, Rena, Simone, Allison, Sheena, Marlin, Paulette, Melville, Heather is here, Yonette, and Annette is here with us. Good to see you in the class soon. Vorlin, then it was Chilo, Mark, Ricky Smith, Fane, Pauline, Tyrone, Joseph, Rupert 491, Jacqueline, Olive, one of my old students, Mr. G is here, Karen, Pauline, Ian, Lyndon, another student of mine, Conrad, Raquel, Terry, Terrence is here, Delan, Grantley, Mortimer. Then it was, those were the people in the schoolyard. And then when the doors were open, we have Rosie Rose is here, Carlton, Popo, Brandy, Abu is here with us, Willis, Lynette from Barbados. Then the list goes on and on and on. Yeah. Pack school today. Now let me give you the announcements and then we're going to move on. Let me quickly, I'm trying to go through this as quickly as possible because we have a lot to discuss. Announcements, we did tell you about the death of retired Sergeant Bailey, Calvin Bailey. And just to remind you that his funeral is Saturday the 26th. Viewing at his residence, Fort Wellington, West Coast Breeze from 11 to 1. Then to the Family Tabernacle Worship Church at number 5 village for service from 2 to 4 and burial at the number 4 cemetery. That is the late Calvin Bailey. We also told you of the death of Charlie, Leroy Charles. Tomorrow night should be the wake at the Ex-Police Association building in Cowan Street, Georgetown. And his funeral service will be on Saturday, the 26th. Let me get the details here. Saturday, the 26th at Zor Congregation Church. I think that is in Pleasance. And then interment at the Good for Watkins Cemetery. Then I told you too about the death of, that took place yesterday. Bluff Griffith funeral was yesterday. I did tell you all about that. And then we have the details for the funeral of our fellow student, TK, Terrence King. We told his wife passed, and the funeral will be on Saturday in California. Says the Hallman United Methodist Church, 3320 West Adams Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, from 1 o'clock. And then there'll be a repast at the Starlight Ballroom. That is on Jefferson Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. And they said they have a viewing on the 25th, Inglewood Mortuary, which is located at 1206 Centennial Avenue, Inglewood, California. And that is from 4 to 7. So yes, TK's wife funeral will be on Saturday. I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to all those persons who have passed, and may the family of those persons, friends and relatives, and may they be granted the strength to go through this difficult time. And remember, as I've said, you might have heard too about the death of, not a Guyanese as such, but a man who was famous. You remember, those of us who remember the Cosby Show? Cosby Show had the guy Theo, right? Warner, I think, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Well, he died tragically, we understand, recently from drowning in some one of those islands and so on. So yeah, we had that. And we told you about the Linden taxi driver whose body was found riddled with bullets. You know about the mocha cook vendor, shot and killed. I understand they arrest somebody, hope he's the right person, right? And that's what we have. Then we told you about the Linden killing of this lady on Saturday. She went to reception, or exchange boyfriend went there, shot her dead. So that is what we have, a lot of death in the place. And then therefore yesterday I learned of the death of someone whom I knew, Yakub Maserali, of the Maserali fame, pilot and all of that. Yakub died suddenly a few days ago. He was buried, I think yesterday, in all Muslim, buried as quickly as possible. And then I told you about the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show. So yeah. And again, I said to you, we all have to go one day, even though some of them are operating as if they would never go. And sometimes you wonder, when you see these good people passing. I told you all too about the death of my friend Patrick Johnny, who was a good friend from West Rhineville initially. Then he moved to Diamond, and he was my mechanic when I got my first car. Kept it in shape. Good people passing. And I guess some of these jagabats, but you can't question the work of the Lord. He knows why he's keeping some of them on the face of the earth. Maybe they got to punish. They can't go quickly. They have to punish before they go. And birthday greetings. Let me send out some quick birthday greetings. Today, birthday greetings are going out today to a very good friend, veteran journalist Enrico Wilford. Is observing his natal day today. Also observing today is retired woman Corporal Adelaide McCrae. Right? She was prophet, I think, and then McCrae, W259, I think was her number. Adi Mark is observing our natal day today. In terms of belated birthday, the Commissioner Clifton Aiken had a birthday yesterday. I know I was trying to get what number it is. Some say 68, some say 69. That's the other figure. So I was really trying to get the number because they claim that he has multiple birth certificates. Whatever it is, we know that he passed the retirement age. And we know the president, the unconstitutionally extended him beyond his age of retirement. And we explained that in detail before. We're not going to go into it again. Right? So, yeah, he had a birthday. And I saw some photographs circulated on social media, which caused me to chuckle. So we have that. And in terms of advanced birthday greetings, tomorrow, tomorrow, or not, I'm not sure it's tomorrow, but we have a birthday. A student who's here, Neville Kisoon, is observing a birthday shortly. Also observing shortly is Wilfred Sweeney. Sweeney, people who in the force, I think Sweeney was 0405. That is a man who was at Linden for many years. Then he was transferred to TSU. I think at the time I was an inspector or an ASP. I heard this story. I sent Sweeney on a cash escort in the interior. And then the next thing you know, word came, boat sink, everybody drunk. Boat sink, everybody drunk. I would never ever forget that. And the night we are the TSU where the billiard table used to be at the back of the western end there, middle flat, western, and we get awake for Sweeney. He partnered 93-2 Latif, crying and carrying on because he partnered Sweeney, drinking body Sweeney dead. And then we ordered nice at the gate, at quarters gate, we ordered nice. And when I looked to see what is the nice, or what was the nice, is Wilfred Sweeney walking, coming in the gate, all he clothes tear up in the TSU uniform, walking, coming. And then he told us of the story where the boat, he was able to reach shore, go up in some tree, and then eventually he was rescued. And so, yeah, Wilfred, that's it, Wilfred Sweeney, walking to TSU during his wake. A wake was being kept for him, and he walked into the wake. I must ask you the story. Ask him the story. And then we have the border coming up. Our very old police, retired Sergeant Ronald Mellis. Mellis was 5655. Ronald Mellis. I met Mellis for the first time. I think it was Monkey Mountain. He was a sergeant there. Back, I think that was in the 80s. And they had an incident where a Marine guy was killed. Police shot and killed him. He attacked the police. Police shot and killed him. And they overran the station. The people overran the station. Mellis and them had to head off into the mountain. And I was an inspector then. Inspector, yeah, or sergeant. I can't remember exactly then. And we had to go in there. I had to lead a team of police from the TSU to take back over that station from those villagers there. Mellis, 5655 Mellis, he had bros with him there, Johnson. And I remember some of those people who were there with him. Yeah, so Mellis, I understand Mellis now is observing his 94th birthday, 94. So he must be one of the older policemen, 5655, Ronald Mellis. He came, I think he retired at the TSU. No, I think, he came to the TSU after then. He was transferred to the TSU, and then eventually he retired. So yes, birthday greetings to all those who celebrated recently and who are celebrating in the future. Let me bring in CC. CC, welcome, my brother. Welcome. Hope you had a wonderful night.
Yeah, happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. And my sympathy goes out to those the relatives, loved ones of those persons that you mentioned who passed away. And birthday greetings. I passed around by headquarters yesterday, and I wanted to go in and wish the squatter happy birthday, but I couldn't find the right birth certificate. And I wanted to be correct, wanted to get the right number, but so I just passed my way straight.
If you didn't get the number of the correct birthday, you could walk with 85. 85, that's a number that you can recognize. 8.5 is the amount of money he claimed that Amir Ahmad gave him to organize Buta's wedding, the wedding planner. So all you have to sell them 8.5 coming up, 8.5. I'm sure you'd have gained easy access, right? Mark 5655. I remember Melis number 5655 because as I said, I knew him then at Monkey Mountain, and then he came to the TSU. He worked there for a while when I was there. Now let me move on. Well, cricket is in the air. As I speak with you now, I am glancing. I am a bit distracted because I have my iPad nearby, and I'm following the game in England with India and England. That is cricket. That is really, really cricket. So all those you diehard West Indian who taking blows, continue to take your blows. I just glanced, last night I looked at the part when West Indies batting, but when I see the amount of the number of runs, I said, that's an easy thing. Then later on I look, I saw the last were 8 wickets and so on. And Russell farewell, it was Russell, Andrew Russell farewell international game. So I guess they allowed him to get his last game in his native Jamaica. But the West Indies cricket, they're at a low level. I saw I was surprised to discover, cricket fans, that Darren Sammy is the sole selector. He's the cricket czar for the West Indies. He's the sole coach and selector for the all formats, T20, 50 over, Test match. He selects the theme and everything. And people were calling on him to resign following that debacle where West Indies were bundled out for 27, second lowest score in the history of Test cricket. The call fee. And certain things should not surprise you, but a statement attributed to the president of the West Indies Cricket Board, Kishore Salu, saying that people are attacking Sammy because he is St. Lucian. That is what it's reported. I didn't read it. I didn't hear him say so, but that is what it's reported. In a sad state, people must admit it. We cricket in the West Indies in a sad state. People retiring, people just fed up and all this type of thing. And when these things happen, you have to blame the management. I mean, people can tell us, "Oh, I can't go out and bat and all." And tell you, well, yeah, but you are the management, and there's something called accountability. And if the team is performing so poorly, those who are responsible for selecting the team, those who are responsible for administering the game, must share some blame, must share some responsibility. So that is what we have. And I know CC will want to say something about the cricket as a diehard fan. Let me bring him in. CC, let me hear your views about the cricket, man. I know you was in England and Australia, England and India. Good cricket.
There's why watching. But when the statement by Shallow, and it's a shallow statement, so we shouldn't put anything in front of it. But after I watched the first T20, and Sammy wasn't there, and I felt good. I said, like, Sammy gone anyway, But then surprisingly last night he turned up there. And yes, he's everything. The sole selector, everything, the coach for everything. I thought he had gone away, but he's still there because he gets Shallow there for him.
Well, that's what we have. That's what we have. So some of us like Aileen and Jakey are diehard, Jacko and them diehard. I am a West Indian. That can't change. But let me tell you something. I'm a realistic West Indian. I celebrate when they do well, and I don't mourn when they do badly. I don't mourn because you expect them to do badly more often than not. So it's a part of life. It's a part of life. Now let me move on. There's an incident that we should have spoken about what time caught up with us. I'm referring to this incident, disturbing incident, where a young indigenous woman was allegedly raped in a nightclub, a bar at Suzite on the East Bank. I saw the tape. I looked at the tape. And to see this woman being handled there, they're pulling down she pants and the man they punchy and all this everything. And these jockeys, them egging it on, telling them in the most lurid terms and so on, they must do with she and all them type of thing. That is what we have come to in this country. I'm happy to see that according to the release, the disc jockey and the selector were arrested and are likely to face criminal charges. What I noted too, they claim that three persons raped this woman, but they put out wanted bulletin for one. So I want to know if they don't know who the other two are, or why put out for one. They ain't got a name. They say it's three persons. But when you look at that video, right? When you look at that video to see what's going on, they think Ragu's Bar. Yes, or Rick Tanks, Ragu's Bar. What have we become in this country? People gather around, and everybody with a cell phone. They gather around with a cell phone, taking out this thing, and everybody arguing it on. And this man there, and the thing pulled down, the woman pants, he pulled down. In public, really, we are in a sad state. And that's why I'm making the point repeatedly. Don't view these incidents in isolation. Do not view these incidents in isolation. It's another manifestation of the decay in the society. You see it in all aspects. Government ministers thieving, police officer sanctioned for smuggling drugs or for drug trafficking, right? Police officer charged for fraud, 200 and something charges. Frequently, policemen charged with murder. It is evidence. Shouldn't view it in isolation. You get a vice president and go and tell you about shit in bucket and ask other thing. What do you expect? What do you expect? The society has degenerated to that. And they're going to jump up now, yeah, and rightly so. Let me understand this clearly. Rightly so. They're going to arrest guy, you got video evidence and so on. But I'm going to talk something about the video evidence just now, right? But it's all aspects of life in Guyana. You can see the evidence of the decay. And I said this to you again. I said this election's coming up in 40 days' time. It's for you to decide if you really want that type of behavior to continue. It's for you, right-thinking people, to determine whether you want it to continue. You know, certain things you can't imagine that these things will happen. And thank God for these same videos and so on. Because when people tell you these things, you tend to disbelieve. No, man, that ain't gonna happen like that. But then when you see the video all over social media, someone sent it to me and I looked at it and I said, my God, what have we come to? So again, police arrest two. The DJ, they said, and the selector. They said they arrested them for inciting this offense. That is what it is said. They issued a wanted bulletin for one man, they claim, who was there actually participating in the rape. And here, let me understand this clearly, you know. Students here, they're not talking about sexual assault. They're talking about rape. There's a big difference between a sexual assault and a rape. Because they're claiming, according to them, there was a rape, which means there was unlawful penetration. That is what is being alleged. Unlawful penetration. Now, the question is, I hope they do a proper investigation, because they claim that the victim went to Timeri, or she was taken to Timeri police station, and she said that she was drugged and she was raped. That is what the allegation is. Well, the policing part, right? She was drugged. She claimed that she was drugged. Oh, they had her properly examined to determine that she was indeed drugged. Hope that they have the necessary evidence, not only our statement that she was drugged, because if she claims that she was drugged, we're not disputing that. I'm not saying that it's not so, but I'm talking about, so when we come to the law and when we come to prosecute the case, our statement alone that she was drugged will not be enough. You have to have medical evidence to prove that she was drugged. You have to have medical evidence to prove that she was raped. So I hope they did all of those things. I hope they did all of those things. And, you know, bringing me to the point, before I bring in CC, about video evidence. Because people tend to believe, and let me tell you all this, students, people tend to believe that the video is there. Yes, the video is there. But the video in itself can't go into court just so. The same thing with the doggy incident at the Square Day Revolution. Somebody commented on, I think it was on the last show, that, well, yes, they get evidence. Because when we were asking, they're charging doggy for assault, threatening behavior, threatening language, and all of those things. And we said that the virtual complainant, according to what was reported, has indicated that she does not wish to proceed with the matter. And we asked, therefore, who will give the evidence? If the virtual complainant, there's nobody to give the evidence. The matter gone down the drain. Somebody misinformed, or they were here to teach, said, well, there is video. Yes, there is video evidence. But who will give the evidence? Who will tender the video evidence in court? Because you can't just go and turn up with the video evidence and tell the court this is what took place. You have to get someone who you can get a statement from as they're the person perhaps who took this thing. Because let me say this, even the police who would have seen this on the social media page and the technical people would have extracted it. That is not, that can't stand up like that in court. Can't stand up, especially in these days of artificial intelligence and all of that. The same thing with this rape case. Not video circulating, but who is going to give the evidence that they recorded, it wasn't altered and all that everything. You need all of that. So don't jump. I'd say you come here and we are going to teach you. Police as well. We're going to teach you. So yes, you have the video evidence, but it has to have some proper foundation. Has to be laid. Thanks, Kevin. And we have many people who prosecuted, including Ulrich, including CC. You got to lay the foundation. You can't just think. And then I know for certain with video evidence and that, you run into a lot of trouble because the defense counsels are going to do everything to get it not, to make sure it is not entered. The defense counsels. So whoever is going to be used by the prosecutor to tender this evidence, get an uphill task. So therefore, I hope the police looking at all of that. I hope. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. See your views on this same matter. Bad, very bad. Let me understand it. It's a terrible incident, but as I've said, it's an indication of the moral decay of the society. Your views, my brother.
Well, I heard about it. I read certain things about it, and I'm happy that somebody didn't send it to me. I'm happy that it wasn't sent to me, and I don't want nobody to send it to me, because from what I heard and what person told me, it's a real, I can't find the word, atrocious behavior. Or in our days going in a country, we used to say, when things go bad, we used to say a cocotrentical behavior. And it represents what's going on in the society. That a rape taking place, and instead of people prevent it or take some action, they jump on the phone and they're recording it. And as you mentioned, Paul, and they have difficulty in terms of tendering the evidence. You have to lay the foundation in these days of artificial intelligence, and you get things where people are doctoring the evidence and this kind of thing. So I hope that they do a proper investigation. I hope they take a proper statement from the victim and the persons who are present there. Don't just jump and say, I see this thing here, and I gonna prosecute, like how they just saw things on the social media and put out one thing bulletin for Dagi, without even checking, without even getting a statement, without even getting a complainant or anything there. That they need to do proper, but it's an indication of what is going on in society. The lawlessness, the decay, the moral values and all things just gone through the window, So I'm saying, don't send it to me. I haven't seen it and I don't want to see it, because from what I've learned, it's really atrocious behavior.
Yeah, terrible. It's just a cocotrentical behavior. A long time I hear that phrase, man. Cocotrentical behavior. Only countrymen like CC and some we can know that what a countryman thing. Cocotrentical behavior, man. I know it's a word in the dictionary, but it's Guyanese countryman word. Cocotrentical. Yeah. Now let me move on. Guyana is not a real place. Guyana is not a real place. I got to preface a lot of this stuff by saying that. Now, I saw something recently in the news, and many of you may be able to relate to what I'm talking about. Right? First, what I saw first was someone making a statement, seemed to have been incarcerated, and making a statement, making allegations against the police. Then I saw a press conference with Dr. Dexter Todd, one of his partners, Dexter Smart, and a lady, I don't know who exactly, because I didn't get a thing from the front, telling us that this man claims that he was taken from Guyana, a Guyanese, Guyanese. He was taken from Guyana and handed over to the Surinamese authorities because they wanted him over there. And here what the story said. This is something that was published on the 18th, a few days ago, by I'm gonna read the whole thing just read part for you to understand what we're thinking there. He says, wanted Guyanese man waived the rights, handed over to Surinamen's police. That's what the Solicitor General said. Right? And here, let me read the first part of it. A Guyanese man who was wanted by Surinamen's police for alleged drug trafficking opted not to subject himself to extradition proceedings, but handed over to the law enforcement of that South American neighbor. Solicitor General Nigel Ark told the man's lawyer, quote, Mr. David stated that he was willing to relinquish his rights in Guyana. He also indicated that he was aware of being wanted in Suriname, and given that his wife operates a business in Suriname, he would prefer not to go through the formal extradition process. Instead, he expressed a willingness to return to Suriname to address the matter there. End of quote. Mr. Ark told attorney at law, Dr. Dexter Todd, in response to the letter, in response to the latter's letter, captioned unlawful apprehension and removal of Mr. Raymond David, breach of extradition laws and due process. End of quote. To the Guyana Police Force. Mr. Raymond Okan Aldar, also known as Raymond Okan David, alleged that he was kidnapped by the police and handed over to the Surinamese counterpart. Mr. Ark said the wanted man refused to have his decision recorded in writing and through audiovisual means. But the Solicitor General Ark said that after the wanted man said he would prefer not to undergo extradition proceedings, the Guyana Police Force invoked its mutual assistance cooperation and took him to the Guyana-Suriname ferry, where he was placed in custody of Suriname's police. And it goes on and goes. May I read much further? This is another dangerous development involving the police. Now, this man, according to them, was wanted in Suriname, a Guyanese wanted in Suriname. He was arrested somewhere in Georgetown. The man called the name. I saw the tape. He called at least 2 policemen named who were involved in this process. Taken to the border and handed over to the police. Now, the man complained bitterly in a video. So, the first, let me say this. I know the Solicitor General Nigel Ark, and I am surprised and disappointed by what he is alleged to have said here. And I'm going to tell you all why. If it is, as has been claimed by the Solicitor General and the police, that this man relinquished his rights to go through the extradition process, and he said, well, I'm going to Suriname. Why is he complaining? Why is he in his lockup or a jail in Suriname and complaining bitterly about being kidnapped and taken there? If you want to claim that this man agreed, look, let me go to Suriname because I know I want to do, why would he then complain in the manner that he's complaining? And then to say that the man refused to give a written statement and to have his this thing video recorded is disingenuous, Mr. Ark and the police, because let me understand this thing. First, you got to remember, and Mr. Ark must know this, that the police are responsible for extradition proceedings, mutual agreement or not. The extradition proceedings is a proceeding that will go to the court. And once the man was arrested, this man is wanted in Suriname, or he's arrested in Guyana, you have to pass it through the court and let him waive his rights to the court, not to the police. So the police is the court now. Once he was arrested, the proceedings should have been started. They go to the magistrate and say, well, look, I don't want, I will go through this process, I can go. And then the magistrate then issue the order for him to go to be handed over to the thing. And police again, if as the Solicitor General is claiming that this man refused to give a written statement and to have this thing video recorded, what happened to these body cameras that the commissioner and the president and all them talking about? Wouldn't that be a good thing for have that your body camera working so that you can have all those the evidence recorded? Further, what happened to the records at the station? Copious records should have been made at the station. Well, I guess now that the talk, they might run and cooked up. Because if you arrest a man in Georgetown, first of all, you should have had some record in Georgetown where he's arrested. You take him to the border, the nearest station there is either Molson Creek or Springlands Police Station. Is there any record, or are there records in those places of all of this? I doubt whether. So for Mr. Ark to come, the Solicitor General, and they encourage this type of behavior, and then at the end of the day, we, the citizens, have to pay. But that cannot be. Again, I say, the extradition proceedings has to do with the court. So if he wants to waive his rights, he got to waive his rights to the court. The police duty was to take him to the court. Whether you have mutual agreement or not, mutual agreement will say, yeah, you're going to arrest him and pass him through. But mutual agreement then say you're going to pick you up and take him there unlawfully and illegally. That is the problem you have. And then they come and try to cover these things. And when you cover this behavior, then the people continue to do the same thing because they're not going to get coverage. But I'm terribly disappointed in the statement claimed to be issued by Mr. R. Because he, as the Solicitor General, ought to know that is not a police process. That is a process to the court, and the police should have taken him. The arrested, yeah, they wanted there. Where is it? You have any document that this man is wanted in Guyana, in Suriname? Is there any document? Those are some of the problems we have. Because even if the Suriname police call and say, hey, we want this man, that's not for you to act on. You can't act like that. The man has constitutional rights. Constitutional rights. And if he wants to waive those rights, you have to waive the rights to the appropriate place. And the appropriate place cannot be at the police station or with the police. You got to be at the court, man. You got to be at the court. And I said, I'm telling them, I'm making these points so people could understand. And that is part of the problem because the Solicitor General now come in and try for cover for the police. They're trying for cover for the police. So the police believe now they can continue to do whatever they want to do. That is the problem we have. Again, I say before I bring in Mr. Conway, I am terribly disappointed in this statement here where Mr. Arkman said the man waive his rights and all that thing. Where is the evidence? Well, Mr. Todd did say that he's going to take the matter to court, and I hope that they bring the necessary action so that these things can be ventilated, and we can hear whether the police can do what they did. You can't allow these things to go just like that. You cannot allow these things to go just like that. If the police in Suriname want it got to be a formal process. They got to make a formal request that this man is wanted. And when the man is apprehended, there's a process to be gone through. And that doesn't mean just pick you up and throw it because he said that, look, I don't want to go through this process. Let him tell the magistrate, I don't want to go through this process, and then they waive you right to the court. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, your take on this whole thing, man. As a former commander of B Division, I was too. Your view.
Normally they get the Attorney General would be the person who would appear, and most times he would appear in person in a matter like this. Where Suriname, the sense, so I don't even know if they get a request from Suriname or somebody must just call him and say, hey, this man is wanted. But instead of the Attorney General who is going to normally, he sent an hawk to represent the state. And I don't believe that the man has waived his rights to have things recorded or videotape. I don't think if a man saying, hey, I waive him your rights, he put it in writing or he allow you to do videotape, and as Paul you said, hey, what happened with them body cameras? I don't believe it's so. And then you just can't pick up a Guyanese of all that. You can't just pick up the Guyanese and then carry so. Huh? Just away. You can't just pick up a Guyanese and carry him to Suriname without nothing from the court. First thing, you should carry him in for the judge and let the judge decide. I remember Ian Chang used to deal with a whole lot of extradition matters. I remember here when they had one with Dataram, when they had wanted to scare Dataram to send him to the States, and Ian Chang ruled against it. Although Dr. Ram subsequently go and give up himself, and things. So, but the thing is that you have protocols that you have to observe, and the extradition treaty you got to think with it. And then I understand they just carry at Springland Police Station and call the Suriname Police, and they put in a boat and gone across there. If you carry any, I thought they will use the official ferry from Molson Creek straight to South Drain, and you hand him over to the there. Perhaps you have legal documents. What is it? The cowboy arrangements? Cowboy arrangements pick up a Guyanese and gone with the hand you over to Suriname police in Guyana, you know. And I wonder what records they get at Springlands police station or Molson Creek, the station that they sent it by who shook Mohammed. And I wonder if that guy was there too also. The thing is that they breach the constitutional right of that Guyanese. And things don't do so. Do the normal thing. Go before a judge and let the judge pass the order. Hey, yes, he can go or he cannot go. It's a Guyanese citizens and we have rights under the constitution of Guyana. And don't bluff me with that the man waive your rights. No. If you're going to waive your rights, I don't sound that bluff. But then when they send a hawk to deal with the situation, what do you expect to happen?
Well, let me say this too. We are sensible people. All of us are. The other one who called me just now, I didn't think he gave much sense. He claimed to name Viva Lobo. You know, it's a fake profile. Viva Lobo come and in 2025, and he talking about Bonham, who died in 1985. Right? Bonham died in 1985, August 1985. And Viva Lobo come to tell us something about Bonham. Right? Let me remind Viva Lobo. Well, he gone because we don't waste time with these dancing people. Since Bonham, you had several presidents. I thought PPP president, Jagan, Sarmines, Janet Jagan, Chetty, Sarmines, Janet, Jagdio, Irfan Ali, all of them you get. Right? And they're still coming to tell you about Bonham, who died in 1985. I am accepting them nonsense. Right? I am accepting that this is not the place for you to come with that rubbish. Right? Viva Lobo, whoever you are, right? Some troll they put, gone, expelled from this school. This school don't tolerate dancing picnic, right? If you well, not being tolerating that. We want people to learn. And we're saying this as reasonable people. Listen to what the Solicitor General is saying. Of course, the police would have told him that. And they cook up this one. If this man decide to waive his rights to this extradition proceedings, why would he refuse to have it recorded? Why would he refuse to give it in writing? Why? Tell me, that makes sense? That make any sense? Make that make sense. That, all right, I don't want to go through this extradition proceedings. You have to send me back. And they say, well, let me get it in writing. No, I'm not put it in writing. And say, I want to, we can record it. No, I don't want it recorded. Why? That is not logical behavior. Maybe logical behavior for them because they're dunce. But that's the logical behavior of a normal human being. Right? Not. And again, they claim that they have made the extradition proceedings much easier now. That is what they say. So what is the problem with having this man go through the proceedings and extradite to Suriname if he's wanted there? What is the problem? But it's the type of cowboy arrangement we have. The lawlessness. And again, I say, you can't separate, you can't disaggregate this lawlessness. It's an environment of lawlessness. So what we saw at Ragu's bar, what we saw the man going a reception and kill the child mother, and what we saw at Buxton men turn up, roll up with AK-47 and cut loose, or assault rifle and cut loose, all of these things are part of a pattern. All of them create a lot of madness going on because the environment is conducive to such lawlessness. Thieving ministers, commissioner of police collecting money in the office, $8.5 million and more, $60 million handed over to a man in the office. And what you expect to happen? Look at what police credit union, big story there. Police quartermaster store, big story. Police finance office. It's an environment of lawlessness. And therefore, all of these things are manifestation of the lawlessness. But they're going to see it that way. They're not going to see it that way. But let me move on to the next matter, right? You know, as I've said, I have told you students repeatedly that in this election season, we call it silly season, all sorts of strange things can happen. All sorts of strange things. And yesterday, we saw, I couldn't believe it, you know, and more, you know, you tell yourself you can't, them things can happen, but when you see it, yesterday I saw a press conference by some of the people from the We Invest in Guyana, the WIN party. We Invest in Nationhood, the WIN party. And the allegation is at least 5 of the persons who are candidates to the WIN party were called by Demerara Bank Limited and told to close their accounts. Let me understand this thing clearly, you know. 5 of those persons were called. No explanation was given. Said, come for your money by the 25th or something like that. Or we can just close your account. And, you know, they're going to jump out on the social media and they're telling you, oh, that's a private bank. The government has nothing to do with it and so on. Put that kind of story and put it where monkey put in nut. Right? Put it where monkey put in nut. Same way they're going to tell me that the policeman, the immigration man who was transferred from Moruca all the way to Region 6 because he shaped or he shook Azadin Mohammedan, oh, there's not a government, that's police. Same way like how the Gaisuko superintendent transferred from Albion to IFLAC because he is a supporter of WIN, same way you're going to say. All is part of a pattern. The same people tomorrow, Tanti Moore will tell us that, hey, Azadin Mohammed and the WIN party is not a threat to the PPP. They say that, but every action tells you a different story. Every action tells you a different story. You believe that Dagi would have catch all them charges, what can't stand in court, had he not been seen as a supporter of the WIN party? You believe that? Do you believe that? I don't. So they're going to do everything, I tell you. And here, let me say this again. I have been saying this repeatedly. The PPP will do every and anything. Let me repeat that. Every and anything to get Azadin Mohammed out of the political race. They're frightening bad. Hey, Jack, they only talk about shit in buckets. They're shaking drum loads. And follow it closely, you know. Follow it closely. A few months ago, Nandalal and all them, they tell you about this landslide they're going to get this landslide and that landslide. There was up some mountain and there was a sliding down. Right? All of a sudden now, Sunday at Albion, they meant talking about landslide no more. They're telling people, oh, we want 55,000 people vote from Region 6. And here this one that I heard for the first time, they are telling you that they don't want to have a minority government. That's a new thing they're bringing now. Oh, you can get landslide and minority. The thing don't mesh. You wanted a landslide. You were talking about landslide the other day. Now you're talking about you don't want to get a minority government. That is what it got to. But they will do everything to get Azadin Mohammed out of the thing. The guy Suko man told you, the police, an act of courtesy. He shook the man. Transfer with immediate effect. Transfer with immediate effect. And the guy Suko man, the man, I see something, I read something. The man is a family man. I think has 3 children in Borbis, East Borbis for the quarantine, Albion. And this man is now transferred within a couple of days to IFLOC. So what happened to his family? What happened to his children? What happened to all of them? These people have no heart, no conscience. And I tell you all again, no conscience at all. And it's for you to determine whether you're going to allow that. It's for you to determine when you're going to allow that to continue. Transfer the people just close the people bank account. Close. And somebody said, I see I had a statement, right? Oh, yes, I saw something that Selvin seeking to explain and said, well, it is a private thing. Yeah, but let me tell you something. Private bank or not, they are influenced or they're doing things that they believe are favorable to the government. And let me say this. It's for those who have accounts there to determine if they want to keep the money there. I never bank with them, bank, period. They never saw a cent of my money, and they will never see a cent of my money because this behavior is consistent with what I know them to be. This behavior is consistent with what I know Demerara Bank to be. Demerara Bank is part of the DDL thing, the Super Sad and Pepsi and 7-Up. I know DDL product, El Dorado, and all them things. Part of that conglomerate, right? So it's for you because by this morning, all right-thinking people and people who are annoyed or offended by the action should go and close their account. They get other options. Close your account. The affected people are complaining to take legal action and so on. Yeah, you might want to take legal action, but take your money and put it elsewhere. Take your money and encourage all your supporters and all them who have a account there to put. You should have had a big line at least the main branch there at Camp and South Road. Big line should have been there. Take all your money and put it elsewhere. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. CC, hope you're going to come to Demerara Bank.
Well, if I edit, I would withdraw it. I'd have gone this morning. Sometime I might not be in the program this morning. I gone and withdraw it. And I remember Kerry Packer, Kerry Packer series. I remember Kerry Packer had a team coming to the West Indies. And they had Gary Gilmore there. And Gilmore was working at the bank. And they refused for him to come to the West Indies. They said it wasn't an official Australian team. And next morning, Kerry Packer went to the bank. He said, I want to have my money. I withdraw from the bank. And next thing you know, Gary Gilmore, they're in the West Indies, they're on a flight to the West Indies, So maybe some people should think about withdrawing their money from that bank. And don't tell me it's a private thing. That decision is political. I don't care what they say, what they're talking about, sanctions and all kind of thing. That is political because you're a member of the Win Party. They think. And other people get sanctioned. I wonder if they get money in the bank, if they have their money still in the bank. Other people get sanctions. And I wonder if they had account in the Demerara Bank. The Demerara Bank is political. And lo and behold, they just, chose those persons who are the Win Party. I wonder why Pierre Apnew, and then they said, "Hey, you going against the government? Let me give you back your money and them kind of thing." Though it's bare politics, and we know them are bank, but people just start withdrawing their money from it. As my honest opinion is that people just start withdrawing their money from the Demerara Bank.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's their bank, as I say, it's a private entity and so on. They're not the only bank. That is not the only indigenous bank as well. You have other banks. And if they behave in that way, right? Just move your money, man. You might very well have better options elsewhere. Move your money. Move your money. Yeah, if your rights are violated by them just closing your account, just something you want to seek legal redress, you're free to do so. But move your money. That is what I would say. Move your money. Right? Now, moving on. As I said, I have to preface everything I say. Guyana is not a real place. Right? Guyana cannot be a real place. I saw a statement this morning in Kaicho News. Is Kaicho News? Yes. An article. Yeah, share the life, man. Share the life. Share the life. We had nothing to talk about still. We only there halfway in the program. Share the life. Things eating up. Now, here what it says, this is today, 23rd. Ben concerned about rising gun crimes. The reporter, Robeson Ben. Robeson shoot and scoot Ben. He's concerned about the rising gun crimes. That is what the thing is said. Ben, crime rising? Bladam and things so. It can say different. It can say crime they get control. Only a couple of weeks ago at the anniversary prize giving away, it's a crime. So now Ben covered the top of rising gun crime. You suddenly wake up and see that. I know you're a shoot and scoot, but you turn Rip Van Winkle now. You now wake up from your slumber. And here what it says here, we're going to read part, we're reading the whole thing. This is Kaito News. Says, it's been concerned about rising gun crimes. Says authorities mulling stiffer fines, jail time to tackle the problem. Here what it says, Kaito News. With a rise in gun violence here, Minister of Home Affairs Robeson on Tuesday said that the authorities have to look at ways to stem the tide by increasing the fines and jail time for persons caught with illegal firearms. In recent times, there has been a rush of gun crimes across the country, many of them resulting in persons losing their lives. The most recent case saw a young Linden teacher, Janelle Polidor, being gunned down by her ex-boyfriend during a wedding reception last Saturday evening. Before that incident, we had the wanton killing of 2 men at Buxton Line Top, followed by another execution-style killing in Linden. There have been several others as well as daily armed robberies across the country. Let me read that back, please. There has been several others as well as daily armed robberies across the country. Most of these cases are yet to be solved, although police have arrested suspects in two of the recent killings. Speaking with Kaito News on the sidelines of the inspection of a diesel leak on Saffron Street on Tuesday, Ben told Kaito News that the law enforcement agencies are cognizant of the rise in gun crimes. According to him, the issue of illegal firearm possession is on top of the agenda of the security forces. Ben said, quote, "We are working on the question of gun control. We have drafted a new firearms act. We got to think just now in terms of increasing fines and incarceration for persons found in possession of illegal weapons. And even if these persons are licensed, we have to look at the use of it. A person with a gun license should not be allowed to go to a bar and just be brandishing his weapon." Right? Then he goes on, and next part is another quote, "The guns are all illegal guns. They are coming into the country through the borders, and most of them are manufactured in the United States of America. We have been arresting quite a number of persons, in particular, a number of persons for intimate partner violence with the guns and firearm killing, many of them in possession of illegal guns." It's a little jumble, but that is what it is said. But let me play this thing for you, Alva. Ben talking about guns, right? Ben talking about guns. I remember, look what was Ben's policy to deal with illegal firearms. This is what the government policy through the Minister of Home Affairs.
In relation to gun crimes and the holding and having of illegal guns, we are not going to be doing any amnesty. Those who have guns and shouldn't have them should perhaps walk into the nearest police station and give them up, or put them somewhere where they could be given up. You're not supposed to have any illegal gun. The question of having an illegal gun, in most instances, has nothing to do with being somebody in the bush and wanting to shoot wild hogs or whatever, or to get protein for food. It has to do with criminal activity. It has to do with criminal activity. If you have an illegal gun, pass by the police station, put it in a bag, and throw it in the yard.
This is the same man now who complaining about gun crimes. And the policy is, based on what he's indicating, pass by a police station, put it in a bag, and throw it in the yard. That is how we're going to deal with illegal guns. But it reminded me, back in October of 2022, I penned a letter to the editors of several newspapers. And it said number of gun owners in Guyana, highest in the English-speaking Caribbean. Right? I think it was yesterday too, Kaito News editorial talking about the number of guns in the place. Right? And I recall telling them, just apart, 2022, October, I said, Guyana has far too many firearms, guns, both legal and illegal. Then I went on to point out some statistics. I said the World Population Review of 2022 gave a breakdown of firearms owned by civilians worldwide. It estimates that the total number of firearms owned by civilians in Guyana to be 122,000 firearms. This equates to 15.80 per 100,000. The review takes into consideration that there are individuals who own multiple firearms. This number is the highest in the English-speaking Caribbean. That is a staggering revelation. It should be of interest to note that according to the same report, Jamaica has the next highest per capita of 8.8. Let me get it back. Guyana, 15.80 per 100,000. Jamaica, English-speaking Caribbean, next highest, 8.80 per 100,000. Dominica, 6.20 per 100,000 among Caribbean countries. And then for some context, I went on to tell him Afghanistan has a rate of 12.50. Somalia, 12.40. Ukraine, where a war is going on, 9.90. South Africa, 9.70. Brazil, 8.30. So when Ben wake up to realize about all of these firearms in the place, in recent times, shooting all over the place, shooting by the police, by criminals, shooting all over. And some people say, I should not make a distinction between the police and criminal. Yes, I'm going to make the distinction of police shooting and criminal shooting. Up to recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they reported that they found a police rank who was on sick leave somewhere in Rival with an illegal firearm. 1:30 in the morning, they claimed. And I made the point then, they said something, I said, wonder if he was waiting for the opportunity to commit a crime. There's such a charge, you know. Wonder if he was waiting. And I am making the point, Minister Ben and all them, Clifton Ikin and all of these people, right? That once you have a society where every time the canary could get gun legally, you call them legally, quote unquote legally, by paying some money, because here now the price gone up to $2 million. By paying money and get firearm, you're gonna get illegal firearm in the system too. You're gonna get, because I maintain, people said the country with the most firearms for 100,000 people per capita is the US. And guns are not going to solve crime. Forget about these people tell you arm the population and you're not gonna get crime. You arm the population, right? Thief man gonna arm themselves too. The statistics have shown that. And especially in the Guyanese context, where you're arming friends, family, and favorite because they pay money and then qualified to get a gun, and they're not properly trained. I have been saying repeatedly, part of the problem with guns in Guyana, guns in all hands, I'm talking about illegal firearms, whether they are in the hands of policemen, whether they're arms in the military, whether they're arms of civilian licensed firearm, I'm talking about, people are not properly trained to use those firearms. That is part of the big problem. And when I said training, I'm not talking about the only training to use the physical aspect to shoot and scoot. I'm talking about knowing when to shoot. What are your rights? We see a lot of Wild West shooting taking place around the place. It's cowboy country. Some men come out now and recognize, and every Ben telling me, what he says, reported to say, and even if these forces are licensed, we have to look at the use of it. A person with a gun license should not be allowed to go into the bar and just brandishing his firearm. How a person like that get a firearm in the first place, Mr. Ben? How a person like that can get a firearm with a type of temperament? You saying that he can go in the bar and he can brandish a firearm. How come he can go there in a bar? How he get firearm? Where y'all don't know proper background check? You don't do proper background check to make sure these people get gun. You just pay the money and you get the gun. Because he talk about changing law. Again, that's part of it. They love to talk about changing law. Not so long ago, they changed the law and they brought in what they call the Firearms Licensing Board. But then the process of what with the Firearms Licensing Board. A man make an application, got to the police investigate, It go through a process, and who get the final say? Then make a recommendation, the Minister of Affairs, to the board whether the man should get it or not. And basically, it's the final say. Because even if you say the board is there, if the minister says they should not get, they're going to get. And if the minister says they should get, they're going to get. Because who appoints the firearm licensing board? There's a lot of corruption in the system, Mr. Ben. And Mr. Conway going to tell you how all the places where money does pass for people to get gun. That is part of the problem. And you know, again, before bringing CC, all of these shootings and so on, and somehow the ballistics seems not to be able to match these things, you know. The ballistics run out when they had the shooting at Fowles and more, where it's alleged that the police shot at the man and a security guard shoot too. And the police are able to tell us, postmortem done, I think the Wednesday, and by Thursday, or the same Wednesday afternoon, they tell us that the fragment that they recovered from the deceased body came from the firearm that the security guard was armed with. So you get something like that means that you get the best ballistic arrangement in the whole world to have come to such a conclusion in such a short space of time. And the people have said to me, I did the reading, a fragment from a 7.62, let me call it right, a fragment from an assault rifle, you can find a fragment of a bullet in a body. Yes, it is possible. People say that bullet out of ricochet, because if the bullet from an assault rifle strikes the body, it can pass through the body. It can pass through. No fragment can leave in there. The only way a fragment can leave is if it's a ricochet. And if it's a ricochet, the people tell me it's likely to be so distorted that it's difficult to get the ballistics to match it to any gun. That is what the experts say. But that is what you want to tell. Ben want to tell you that it's a surprise. And Ben tell you, show it in the yard. That is the policy. If you get an illegal gun, put it in a bag and show it in the yard. Because you're not supposed to get it. And so therefore, what you expect? How many have been shown in the yard since you make that statement, Minister Ben? How many firearms, illegal firearms, have been put in a bag and shown in the over the fence? It's madness. Madness. People don't know the ace from the ass, as people would say. They don't know. And as a result of that, Guyanese are suffering. Look at these incidents. Innocent people being killed. Innocent people. Men playing domino. Men roll up, shoot and kill them. I hear one of the persons who was in hospital with discharge, thankfully, and I think the others are still there. And we're still asking the question. You gave in the initial release, you know the gang that is alleged to be involved in this shooting. You all know nobody from this gang yet. You don't know who they are. You name the name of the gang. So you don't know who are the people associated with the gang. What your special branch and all them doing? And then one of the victims is said to be under police guard. That is what you say, under police guard. So why would you guard a victim? Tell us. Tell us. I'm bringing CC, man. CC, Ben said too much guns, right?
Well, too much guns in the tongue. This one get a gun, that one get a gun, too many guns in the tongue. And since when possession of firearms, shooting around and so, since when that has become a serious offense? In the police analysis, possession of firearms and things, they are not serious offenses. For the arms damage, they are not serious. The police categories get 11 categories of serious offense, and this one, a firearm, it is not a serious offense at all. So I know how Ben come to the conclusion, and then again it might be serious because they must use a lot of alcohol. You know, the crime chief said them things related to consumption of alcohol, and people getting gun too easily. I know we had issues where a man might be a successful businessman, but temperament are good. You can't get a gun. Paul, you mentioned about the firearm board. The bypassing the firearm board. A license are being issued at headquarters without going to the Home Affairs or firearm board. Right there. The stakes are high. You pay your $2 million. Shift Changer Paul Drive, Young Street. a house in Rob Street, a building northwest of the Brickdown Police Station, a building in Carmichael Street. Days where the fire they get in the approval. 2 million and you get your firearm, whether you get whether you have good character or not. And I don't know how come been saying, I repeat myself, that possession of firearms or shooting or shooting the people firearm is a serious offense. It is not according to the 11 categories that they're dealing with. And then I repeat myself again, the crime chief, when they brought on the deputy commissioner, say all those things are related to the consumption of of alcohol. Perhaps DDL. I mean, no wonder DDL and maybe them other company must be doing well because of of persons consuming and then using firearm. The thing is ridiculous, and they need and bringing new laws can't help this situation. Persons are acquiring firearm too easily, legally and illegally, and then you gotta watch where the firearms coming from. The trend used to be from Brazil, but now I hear it coming from the United States of America. So what happened with our ports of entry? What happened with our borders? The majority coming now and stand from the United States of America. The other day they had the coming barrel. They had coming barrel, and instead of the custom and the narcotics others, instead of they look at some control delivery, allow it, let the person come and collect it. They open the barrel themselves, and up to now they can't get the persons who allegedly were the receiver of those firearms. So they gotta get different strategy, and they have to stop issuing firearms willy nilly. Stop issuing firearms because you can pay 2 million Guyana dollars, or the situation, and then Bell telling you for throw it, put it in a bag and throw it over the thing there. Now all them thing they could work. Total nonsense. They have to get a proper ways and means of dealing with these illegal firearms. Too many guns in the town, legally and illegally.
Too many guns in the town. Spice and Company sing the song. Too many guns. You know, when I wrote that letter, I actually put the words to that song in the letter in October 2022. Too many guns in this town. Too many guns passing around. Too many guns in this town. Too many guns passing around. Is every day you open the paper, all you read about is murder. Man, this thing is sad, but the whole world going mad. This one have a gun, that one have a gun. Remember the song Spice and Company? They say, man, they go shoot each other for fun. Then he said, when the men kill the men, all that remain is women. And then I'm gonna have me fun. Then I'm gonna take out my gun. Too many guns in the tongue. Right? And Mr. Ben, increasing fines and talking about incarceration ain't gonna help the problem. That is the thing with y'all, you know. You get fatal accidents, all right, we can increase fines. We can make this, that. And these things are not enforced. So they want to jump and say you're going to increase. Well, I know, Ben, you talk about increase, you're on the back. Your term coming to an end soon. Not for your term coming to an end soon. Right? So the thing is nonsensical to say that if you have an influx of illegal firearm, increasing the fines and increasing the jail term, can stem that. That is wishful thinking. It don't happen, sir. Do not happen, sir. Especially as we have said, in this environment of lawlessness. Look, not so long ago, they reported about a shooting by the Fisher Bishop place there. When it was revealed that they had some party from some teenagers who were successful in the examination. One of the female teenagers was seen embracing some man at a Mercedes, some black Mercedes car. And it is said that when the driver of that car pulled off, he fired, I think they claim 19 rounds or something like that. 19 9mm rounds or 19 9mm casings were recovered. We ain't hear nothing more than that. We haven't heard anything more. And I know, and many people know who the people are. They say black Mercedes. How many black Mercedes Benz you have in Guyana? People call him a name. the father of the guy who they ain't do nothing. So you're talking about dealing with firearms. Nothing. And that act by either is not a serious crime, as my colleague pointed out. That is not a serious crime. It is not reflected as a serious crime. And unless you hold up and decide to look, this thing, you got to call a spade, but they have to whitewash everything. They're fooling themselves. They're fooling people. Because those of us who live in the society know about the fear. You know about the fear of being a victim of a crime. Look, only yesterday, I think it is reported a 16-year-old, some big shootout between two gangs, a 16-year-old female is critical in the hospital. Stray bullet catching. A 16-year-old female, critical because of stray bullet. She going about your normal business, whatever it is, and bullet. Not so long ago, we heard about the matter in Charleston, where a young boy was shot. Young boy, I think he subsequently died. Shot a long time ago, he subsequently died. That is what you have, is lawlessness. You walk around the town, you see all them people with all them big gun. They tell you all this place is so safe. And every street corner you turn, you see people who purports to be security with some long gun. And they're telling them it's just a matter of time. You have all these people with assault rifles, all these civilians with legal firearm. You got police running around with place with firearm. Just a matter of time where they're gonna see, you get a report of some robbery or some incident, and they're gonna come and they're gonna see a man with a gun, and you're gonna get problem. Because enough of them are just to be identified as security. You're gonna have problem. And imagine you're talking about visitors. Imagine you're talking about tourists. Man come to this country and you walk around, you see all the people with enough gun. How comfortable you think they will feel? They are not gonna feel comfortable. They are not. And every day on social media, you see all of these pictures circulating. But that is what we have. Let me remind you again of the policy. Let me remind you all of the gun policy.
In relation to gun crimes and the holding and having of illegal guns, we are not going to be doing any amnesty. Those who have guns and shouldn't have them should perhaps walk into the nearest police station and give them up, or put them somewhere where they could be given up. You're not supposed to have any illegal gun. The question of having an illegal gun, in most instances, has nothing to do with being somebody in the bush and wanting to shoot wild hogs or whatever, or to get protein to food. It has to do with criminal activity. It has to do with criminal activity. If you have an illegal gun, pass by the police station, put it in a bag and throw it in the yard.
Throw it in the yard. That's the policy. You have an illegal gun, pass by the police station, put it in a bag and throw it in the yard. So how you expect to deal with guns in the place? Yeah? How do you expect? You have to have a proper gun policy. That's what you're talking about there, Ben, is there can't be a proper gun policy. First of all, people who are to get legal firearm, and let me understand this clearly, there are going to be many persons, I suspect, who are going to have proper claim to be given, to be issued with a license to carry a firearm. But then it has to do, once you make that determination, right, and not this thing going to come say, you're a businessman. Who is a businessman? In Guyana, if you're selling sweetie at the road corner, you're described as a businessman. Guyana has per capita the most businessmen in the world. I can't tell what they tell you. They come, they're selling sweetie, you're selling guinea, you're selling mango, your occupation, businessman. You have to have bona fide businessmen. And as CC pointed out, even though they might have property and business which says they ought to get a firearm, you have to look at the temperament. You got to look at the temperament. You have to look at how they socialize and all this everything. Because they might be a temper, drinking rum all over the place. Can't give them gun. And then when you determine that these people must get firearm, they have to go through proper training. And not only a one-time, not one-half training. Maybe every couple of years they got to satisfy you that they can use the firearm properly. You know, I tell you, I attended the FBI Academy, and the training, almost every week, agents have to come in to recertify them police forces, proper police forces. You don't carry firearm and not I'm talking about the law enforcement agencies. You have to recertify, be satisfied that you can use the firearm properly. But in Guyana, you have policemen in Guyana walking around with guns, big guns, as they would say. No proper training. Some of them would have never trained in the force. Never trained in the force. That is part of the problem. People walking around going, they are not properly trained. Look at them security guards you have around the place. Security guards shooting himself in the foot and all them type of thing. Security guard take away gun from the next one, go and kill people. Look, you get security guard at the Gifford Mall. Remember the one who robbed the casino, 13 point something million? You understand he was arrested? Like the money and recover, or the money recover and the money and report. What was the story there? Analyze it, you're going to see. Security guard at LBI shoot some shotgun, injure other people. The issue, Mr. Ben, is not as simple as you would want to think. Now, it's not putting in a bag and shooting in the yard. That is not going to solve the problem. It's not increasing fines and bringing jail. That is not going to solve the problem. That is not going to solve the problem. It's not establishing a firearm licensing board, which is bypassed, and it's just there on paper. That is not going to pass the problem. Part of the problem, you have to nip the thing in the bud. Without, well, not nip it in bud because it's gone viral now. All the money we're collecting all over the place, and it is no secret. No money collected in all sorts of places for guns. I told you all of a story of a man told me, and I repeated it because he told me, he gave me permission to repeat it. Where he went there to see the squatter, and the squatter asked if he get firearm. He said no. He said, well, I want firearm because I don't spend much time in the country. But I said no. He make a spin at another office when he come back. Because the staff people were called and told to prepare an application and everything. So by the time the man come back, the man get letter for get a firearm license. Within a few hours. He never had applied. He really didn't want. He get letter to get the license. And the story is, the man tell me that, well, he didn't get for buy the firearm. He never wanted the firearm. He traveled out and then he went back and his friend told him there was a letter there for him at his friend's residence, which he used as the address. He said when he got, is the license that was issued in the firearm that was never bought was revoked. And then somebody tell you, say, well, the man revoked the thing because you did not show your appreciation. If you want to apply for a firearm license and the man fix you up, you give your license to get a gun, you're not going to show your appreciation? That is the story. That is the story. That is part of the problem. That is part of the problem that you have. Corruption in the system. Corruption in the system. Right? Corruption in the system. Politicians sending people to get guns. And I know, back in the day, I was a commander. We had guidelines. Businessmen, and you got to satisfy us that you're a businessman. So if you're a businessman, I just tell them, bring your tax return and so on, and your registration for your business to satisfy me that you're this progressive businessman that you claim to be in your application. Bring that. And that is why many of them just stop right there. They said you will give preference to businessmen, you will give preference to farmers, because the farmers would come and say, well, wild animal eating out the crops. Yeah, let me get the evidence. Carry and show you where this farm there. They can't carry you and show you where the farm there. Then the third category that was given preference to were our indigenous brothers. Right? As a matter of fact, I think the law still is that if the indigenous people in certain areas get a shotgun, they don't have to pay for the license. They are given free license. I think that is still the law. Because they use that to hunt for food. The same wild animals that Ben talk about. Now, the whole thing on air wire, men only not getting shotgun and revolver and pistol, they're getting assault rifles and all sort of thing. Madness. Let me move on. There's another matter that came to attention since sometime last week. I'm referring now to this murder preliminary inquiry. I noted this morning that the magistrate has ruled that the PI, the preliminary inquiry, I'm talking about the murder into Keisha Vaughn. Marlon De Silva is charged with the murder of Kenisha Vaughn. Remember the lady that was shot at Diamond there 12 times by she repeated husband. He went home, they had some argument, and the thing was circulating. The video was there. I didn't look at the old video. Too disturbing. Pumped 12 shots in she. Right? Killed her in the presence, they say in the presence of her a child and all of that. Now, the PM, the PI, preliminary inquiry, started. Right? And it is said that the director of public prosecutions gave the fiat to the firm of Hughes, Fields, and Stovey to prosecute the case. Now, what she mean by that? It is a state versus this man. And normally the police or somebody from the DPP's chamber would have conducted the preliminary inquiry. It's not a trial, it's a preliminary inquiry. However, the DPP being the constitutional authority for all criminal matters, whether public or private, can make a determination from time to time to get outside people to prosecute. There are many cases, like the case what they call the election fraud case. She asked to give a fiat. She asked to give the go-ahead in writing for them to think. But she did that to use Fields and Stovey. Now, let me say this. Policemen, policewomen, once the DPP gives a fiat for a matter, the role of the police is limited to making sure that the statements that they would have corrected during the investigation are given to the prosecutors or revealed, and to summon witnesses to go to court. That is the role. Well, I was shocked when I saw a report, this incompetent police force, no, well, not the old police force, some of these senior people, claiming because sometime 2 weeks ago, apparently some statements were not served, and as politically inclined as some of them are, they attacked the form of Hughes, Fields, and Stovey, and to hear the police said in a release that they are going to take back the case because the form of Hughes, Fields, and Stovey wasn't, the police said they're going to take back case. Police can't take back case. Let me understand this thing clearly. Police cannot take back no case. They're going to take back the case on the prosecutor. Where y'all get your teaching from? Once the DPP makes a decision to give the fiat to some lawyer or some law firm to prosecute the case, it is the DPP's decision whether that process will continue. And all the police have to do is to summon witnesses to attend court and to hand over whatever statements they would have collected during the course of the investigation. But this political police force we get, I guess it's because it's Nigel Hughes, a presidential candidate. So they're trying to attack the thing. And then hear what they said. The Ghana police force wishes to clarify that the ongoing trial of the police versus Marlon De Silva. I know it's police versus Marlon De Silva. I thought it was the state versus. Anyhow, that's what they said. For the murder of Kenisha Vaughn is not being prosecuted by the police. And court here, they say attorney at law Nigel Hughes applied to the director of public prosecutions and was granted a fiat to appear for the prosecution. Therefore, Mr. Hughes and his associates have had sole conduct of the prosecution of this matter since 17th day of March 2025. Quote, the Ghana Police Force has noted with concern the recent press articles alleging that the prosecutors was ill-prepared to present their case. The Ghana Police Force will raise this issue with the DPP with a view to having the fiat revoked, since the private prosecutors clearly demonstrated an inability to successfully move the prosecution forward. Finally, for the capital offense of murder, this state of affair is unacceptable. What nonsense-ness is that? The DPP, in our own deliberate judgment, makes a decision for, obviously must be able to believe that the police are not competent to prosecute the case, or no one in the DPP's chamber is competent to prosecute the case. So they claim in here that a request was made by the law firm of Hughes, Fields, and Stovey, and they say, yeah, you prosecute the case. It's the DPP to determine whether that matter should proceed like that. The preliminary inquiry, it's a PI. And let me tell you, in a matter like this, it's a murder case. A magistrate can't try a murder case. The magistrate conducts a preliminary inquiry to determine if a prima facie case has been made out. and a prima facie made, a case at first glance. You look at it, yes, there's a case. And once that is determined, then the magistrate will commit, commit the person to stand trial at the High Court, judge and jury. And then the depositions, all the papers and all the statements, because once you get a statement in the magistrate court, you depose in the magistrate court, you got to sign where your statement and so on, then that goes to the DPP. And the DPP will indict. The magistrate commits you to stand trial at one of the sittings of the High Court, and then it goes to the DPP indicts you, having gone through all the statement, indicts you. And let me say this too, police. It is not obligatory for all the evidence to be presented at the PI. The prosecutor don't have to present all the evidence. Remember, there's a preliminary inquiry. And once the prosecutor presents sufficient evidence to satisfy that there is a prima facie case, you can then opt to call the other witnesses at the High Court. And I see something mentioned this morning about paper committal and all of that. I haven't gone into detail. So we understand this police force, politically inclined, tell you what, they're going to take back the case. You can't take back no case. In case a kid didn't know that, I would expect the crime chief, who is he admitted to the bar to practice law in Guyana, even though it was during the COVID period. He admitted to the bar. He ought to know. But it would appear as though, even if they know, the people who issue these releases just issue release. They know these things. So just issue some release. We can take back this case from Nigel Hughes because he seems incompetent and all them crap. They could talk about incompetence. Then the latest development in this matter, because of the publicity the matter has gathered, the defense counsels, the attorney representing this man we named Marlon De Silva, made an application to the magistrate to have the matter held in camera. Well, let me tell you, when I say in camera, you mean no Canon or Nikon or one of them camera, you know. Means in closed doors. So media and the public and all of those things will be debarred from it. I read this morning that the magistrate ruled that the matter will be going forward, will be held in camera. So the press will be barred from the preliminary inquiry. The public will be barred from the preliminary inquiry. And I think the magistrate did say too that if you want to make a release, you got to get permission from the court as to what you can put out in the public and so on. I don't know how lawful that is. They should liaise them to decide. Because I would have thought that a matter like this, with the public interest, people should be allowed to sit down and hear the matter and so on. But the magistrate said no. So we will see how that will go. But I just wanted to make the point for the education of our students that this stupidness will read with the police here. Again, I say, once the decision was made by the DPP to give the fiat to the law firm or to any other body, the police role is limited to summons and witnesses and the over whatever statements you have so they can be reviewed. That is what it is. Not for them to tell, they're going to tell the DPP to withdraw the fiat and all sort of crap they're telling you. They can't even prosecute them little cases they get. Little cases they get. The DPP must know, the politically inclined DPP must know the reason why she said, let this matter be done. Because again, this is another matter where we saw women, Margaret, child mother, I think he lived home, his reputed wife. I think it's 12 shots, 12 9mm shots, 12. And Trump said, well, he was attacked and that is, he was provoked. 12 shots. Let me bring him Mr. Conway, man. As an old prosecutor, he can able to show some light on this thing too. See, when I say old prosecutor, I mean a man who prosecuted some time ago. That's what I mean.
Not only prosecuting, I used to train prosecutors, man. I used to train. Remember, we had a 1-year special prosecutor course that we used to run. That is parallel to the 1 year at the University of Guyana. That was introduced by Mr. Larry Lewis. And out of that 1-year course, people like Gilhouse, people like Henry and them went and qualified at the in University of West Indies, you wouldn't. No, very interesting in this murder case that it will be tried in camera, unprecedented. I never really hear about that. I never read about that. I have to go back in my research that a murder preliminary inquiry will be held in camera. I know there's being free public interest at anybody. I know in the sexual offences matters, Sexual Offences Act, well, yes, it's held in camera, but this murder, unprecedented. I never hear about it, but I will have to do my own research and see whether it's the magistrate is correct or the magistrate erred. But it's very, very interesting. And as you mentioned, the preliminary inquiry, that as long you bring all your witnesses and you feel you have enough that you prove your case, you say, "Hey, that is my case, but I have several witnesses," and you name them, that in case the matter is committed to the High Court, I will call them or make them available. I make them available, so there's a way. But to say that that matter will be held in camera, the proceedings camera, is very, very interesting, unprecedented. I've been filing court all along the line, and I never hear about that. But perhaps I'll have to check and see what is the position, whether the magistrate was correct or whether the magistrate erred.
Yeah, very interesting development there. I've never heard of that too. That's why I said I'm gonna mention it. I have never heard of a murder PI being held in camera. I have never heard of that. Maybe the magistrate, right? I have not seen that he's wrong, but I'm just saying that I have never come across such a case before. I have never ever come across such a case. There are certain matters involving children, and with the Sexual Offences Act, those matters are held in camera. But I know that a murder preliminary inquiry, I've never heard of that. In all the years that I've been following these matters as a senior police officer, and even before and after, I never heard about that. Well, let me bring this one. You remember this matter, Adriana Young? Adriana Young's matter. We're going to talk about it. Share the live. Share the live. We haven't finished yet. Share the live. We have Adriana Young to talk about. Now, let me say this. We still have not been kept up to breast, the public, as to what is happening in this matter. We saw a statement recently from the crime chief, Deputy Commissioner Blanham, that the investigation is ongoing, right? The investigation is ongoing. And I asked the question before, I'm asking again, if this investigation into the murder of Adriana Young is ongoing, what was the reason for this Canadian investigator being here? Because we were led to believe that this man came to assist in this investigation. And the man pronounced on the investigation. So as far as he's concerned, everything was done properly. Right? None. So she drowned in the pool. He said the reason why they did not find her in the pool is because they didn't search with proper equipment and so on. So this man was telling us, this charlatan from Canada who came, spent about a week or so, never visited the scene, I understand, never visited the scene, sat down and he claimed that he reviewed about 400 pages of document. And he concluded from that document, for example, mind you, that the police gave to him. The police who were accused of complicity in this whole thing gave to him. And he's satisfied from that this investigation was properly done. He gave great marks to the police and so on. Then we understand recently from Dr. Dexter Todd, he says here, private international investigative team reviewing Adriana Young's case. That's what Dr. Todd said. They said a private international investigative team is actively reviewing the circumstances surrounding the death of 11-year-old Adriana Young. Attorney Dr. Dexter Todd revealed. Dr. Todd, in an interview with Kaicho News on Friday, said that the team is currently analyzing surveillance footage, interviewing witnesses, and speaking with persons of interest connected to the case. The team's aim is to conduct an independent, thorough investigation and compare the findings with those of the Guyana Police Force. The team is headed by a digital forensic expert from the United Kingdom. Quote, there's an international investigative team which was pulled together. Because of the need to protect the identity of the investigators, they are basically walking through back a number of things that have been started. The digital forensic expert is basically analyzing now all video, because since the incident, I was able to pull all the videos. I had a separate team working on that on the ground. I would never have left that to the police. That is what Tad is saying. And then he went on to make a startling revelation that the people have discovered now that the CCTV cameras were in fact working. And remember this part. Let me make sure I show you all this. Listen to this, folks. Listen to this.
Tell you, as I told some of your colleagues earlier, the investigators, they are in possession of video footage prior to Adriana. Well, it's either prior or at the same time when an alarm was raised that she was missing.
Is this from the security?
No. The investigators were reliably informed that the camera that was affixed to the pool area, that camera wasn't working on the day of the incident. I didn't hear you. Correct. Our forensic video analyst experts, they would have went through the DVR and they would have confirmed that it wasn't working on the day in question. Thank you very much.
I mean, we can forgive the crime chief to saying that they would have went through. I ain't gonna beat you up for your grammar, but he said that the video wasn't working. Now, Dr. Tad is saying that they have discovered that the video CCTV cameras, at least one camera or more, was working. And it brings me to the point, remember I was showing you all this. This is a photograph of that scene. This is a photograph taken on the 23rd of April, it was, of the scene. The arrow is pointing to Adriana Young in the pool. We can see there, this is, let me understand, I am no photographic expert, but this could not have been taken by any cell phone. From this angle, all the roof of this bar, look at a bar here. You get the roof, look, you get all the building, very wide angle. The roof of the sky, look, you got sky. You got the whole, almost the whole big part of the pool. This could not have been taken from a cell phone. I am of the view that there was some camera mounted there, and this image is a still photograph from a CCTV camera that was mounted somewhere in the wall overlooking this place. So how did they acquire this still photograph? If Blanham is telling us that the things weren't working, something is wrong. As I said, cover up from the get-go. Cover up from the get-go. But as I said, it is rather revealing, and I'm waiting to hear that the update on that statement from Mr. Tad, that one, the CCTV camera, at least one, was working. The one that I pointed to you all, at least this one, that there somewhere up on the bar, overlooking the bar, overlooking this part of the pool, at least the one was working. So a still picture was taken from it. A still picture was taken from it. So I can't understand what the crime chief is telling the public. That makes sense. The cover-up. I'm talking about the cover-up. What's the story with Assistant Commissioner Mandal, who was sent on administrative leave? You know, there's the man who came out and told the family the very night that the girl was seen leaving in a car going towards Vidanoop. Then they said they found the car somewhere on the West Bank. They arrested Orlando the next morning, Orlando being the driver of this car. What happened to Mandal? This thing occurred in April, May, June. Today's the 23rd. As a matter of fact, it's exactly 3 months since this girl went missing. And 2 months plus since Mandal was sent on administrative leave. What is the position in Mandal? Administrative leave, he joined pay. And I told you already, he got sneak back in. Put to some command. Although he demonstrated all this incompetence, put some command. Their aim was to make sure this thing slide. Come out with all sort of fancy story as to what happened. But as I've said, Tad came out with a statement. Again, before bringing CC, yesterday, there was an incident in Trinidad. Somebody sent me the video of the commissioner of police in Trinidad. There was a kidnapping, and according to the commissioner, as a result of intelligence, they were able to rescue the victim. The kidnapper was killed. Now came out, the commissioner, and faced the media. The commissioner came out and faced the media over the incident. He made a statement, and they asked him questions, and he answered. Those questions that he couldn't answer, he told them, well, he can't answer, and he gave the reason. We get a commissioner, don't face no media. Not face no media, not give no statement. If the broccoli at the sidelines or something, he come and he talk a bundle of crap. A bundle of crap, he speaks. That is what you have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing. Well, we're going to go a little over, because I get some announcements to make. CC, your views on this Adriana Young case, man?
I'm listening to the crime chief, and part of what he's saying is that they were reliably informed. Those are words, his investigators were reliably informed that the cameras weren't working. Imagine that they're reliably informed, so they must his judgment based on what people tell him, based on the information that they got, instead of do proper investigation to prove or disprove the thing that whether it was working or not. And then again, they bring this dry up maple leaf, so to assist, look at 400 pages and come to the conclusion that, hey, that they had to get export to check the pool, and they had to get export equipment to check the pool. And I talk a story, I'm going to repeat it. My grandson is 11 years old, like Adriana, and he into swimming. And I remember one of the days I took him to the aquatic center, natural aquatic center, and he 8 feet, and I throw me a bunch of keys in the pool. And I said, boy, where's the key? He said, grandfather, look, the key down there. I said, go and get it. And he plunged in there, and in a little time he come up with the key. And there's it. Adriano, 11 years old, they said she been in the pool. Well, they were to find her. So I know what really they were looking for. And then Todd had some exports, and one of the theory they say you got to bloat before you float. And let me tell you an interesting story. Where I'm living, outside of my yard there, I have a big mango tree that my wife planted. Chicago lands, and it's bearing, and mangoes dropping. And outside there, I have a concrete drain. And sometimes when I do check, I see some ripe mangoes would fall and go in the concrete drain, and they're at the bottom. And maybe 2 days afterward, you know what happened? They float up, they bloat, and then they float. So the mangoes will bloat, and then they float. But Adriano float before she bloat. And unless I do proper investigation, I'm happy that what Tad is doing. And I'm certain that those cameras they were working. Their reports unconfirmed that the man with the wet clothes, the wet pants, took away those equipment. Those equipments were handed. He took them away and all kind of thing. So we will not rest. The investigation has got to go on. Adriano, that got to be properly investigated. The cover-up must stop. And then again, Mandel, if it was a police service commission responsible for appointment, responsible for disciplinary procedure, responsible for removal from office, if they sent him on administrative leave, we no longer have a police service commission. I know when we're going to get one. So I know what with Mandel we're going to do. But in the meanwhile, he drawing his salary, doing nothing. Was he home somewhere reflecting on whether on or he was there somewhere home watching the video that they say he got with Adriano joining a black and red room and it's heading somewhere to Breeden Hoop, and the case may be. So it's very, very interesting, but we need to ensure that we keep our pressure on to make sure that a proper investigation is done and that justice is served for the death of Adriana.
I agree with you fully. I agree with you fully. And then, as I've said, come election day, when I go for put my ex, this is what I remember. Adriana Young, 11-year-old, murdered at the Doubleday Hotel between the 23rd of April and 24th of April. And they cover it up. Police, they're covering it up. A murder. Because again, despite what they're trying to tell you, right? She did not drown in the pool. Even if they said she died by drowning, couldn't be in the pool. And why am I saying that? Again, I say, look over there. You want to tell me this child drowned in this pool with all them people around, including people in the pool with she, and nobody can see, nobody can hear, no alarm. She ain't make no alarm. She ain't struggling on the towel. That is absolute madness. Could not have drowned in the pool. She was recovered in the pool because she was placed there. I saw a video last night circulating in social media, somebody analyzing a man with a suitcase coming out, and the 3 policemen, and they're down there, and they're around the suitcase. And then, like, when the suitcase can't go out, they turn back. They're claiming that maybe the body was in that suitcase. An attempt was made to remove the body out of the place. We saw the morning of the 24th, the truck trying to get out, and them men, again, I got to compliment those villagers with the father. They stood their ground and said, no, they're coming out here, because it is suspected that attempts were made to remove the body. And that is why it is said, they get it taped with critic the night to show that nobody is there. Nobody is there. The plan being that when she was found elsewhere, then they're going to say, well, we tell you she was never here. She left with some car. But the thing backfired because the people decided that nothing and moving, no car, no body is leaving. Work that the police should have done, the villagers did. And because of that, they panicked, they had to throw the body in the pool. So the body float without bloating. The body come up there within 24 hours. Defy all the science. Because the experts said, they explained the process. Person drowns, you inhale water, your lungs fill up and so on, you go to the bottom. As we saw with the man at Linden who died, who drowned a couple of days after. You go down. And then the people tell you, that's what the experts telling you, that once you're down there now, the decomposition starts. The body, the composition of the body, gases build up. And it's the gases that are built up in this body, cause the body to be buoyant. And then after like about 72 hours or so, the body floats up. But not in this case. This case defies science. Within 24 hours, this body came up. We got to keep talking about it. We got to keep talking about it. Let me bring you Mr. Connor for his closing. I know we are almost there, but I got to get it closing, and then I'm going to tell you what going forward. CC.
Yeah, still saying that the investigation, financial investigation in the Guyana Police Force the audit department must conduct it. The Police Finance Office, Region 6, Region 8, Region 1, and the Quartermaster Store, multi-million dollars thing going on there. I heard that when I said the allegations against Brutus, where he form his own company and get other people to do because top people used to send suppliers, take the suppliers, millions of dollars, different suppliers coming from nowhere on instructions, and then people saying that Brutus say if people could send the suppliers, I could get my own suppliers. I could get my own company and deal with it. So what happened at the top just flow down to the bottom. And I'm saying tremendous financial irregularities in the Ghana Police Force. The Police Finance Office, the Quartermaster Stores, for the time being region number 1, to start investigation and to stop region number 8, region number 6, where persons work at the fair. They had their work for 3 days and they tell them that 2 days, they get paid for 2 days, and 1 day must go to the government. And although they had received money for 3 days payment, so what happened with the 1 day? The 1 day draw? Who draw the 1 day? Persons who won't work, persons who won't show their face, give face time. Persons who won't go see time, go sit down there, draw 3 days pay. And those who work for 3 days get 2 days. They say 1 day got to go to the government. Investigate the Ghana police force in terms of the financial irregularities, serious financial irregularities, including hundreds of millions of dollars. I know what the other department is doing, unless they themselves done it.
All right, thank you very much, CC. As we go forward, folks, again, the number, Zelle, Cash App, and MMG, those numbers are there. Those of you who want to make a contribution to the upkeep of this program, please do so. I got to show you all this, the women in particular. This is the former First Lady Vashi Singh. She was set to be married to Bharat Jagdeo. And this is where she complaining about the PPP. Right? She said PPP have no respect for women, none. That is what she claims. That they ain't got no respect for women. Read it for yourself. I will never forget how it was treated under the PPPC administration while I was the First Lady of Ghana. They have zero respect for women. And that continues. And people are asking for their therapy. So I'm going to give you your therapy. Here it is. Here we go. Take your therapy.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims.
So, every time I see this, I got to laugh, I said, tomorrow afternoon, towards this man going to come and he going to gaslight and he going to attack who is criminal and he going to attack all other people. But look, skin up. No investigation, nothing to tell in relation to that serious allegation, which is, in case you know, is that the allegation by Sue, and that was a Vice News reporter, is that he takes Sue is the middleman, collects $500,000 US dollars on behalf of him. That's the allegation for contract to Chinese businessmen and so on. I can play you all the longer version at some other time so you can get a better understanding of what transpired. Yeah, Sue, tomorrow you're gonna hear a story there. You're gonna hear, let me tell you this. Tomorrow, you're gonna hear about Ashuddin Mohammed. It will take up a long time. You're gonna hear about Paul Williams, Deputy Commissioner retired. I have something to talk about it here, but time run out. Next program, where they lose them. Paul Williams appeared on stage with the APNU on Sunday at Melanie, and he talked about certain things and so on. And they lose some of the propagandists, man. Two of them at least I see. Right? Come out, they're attacking Paul Williams. I got to set the record straight because I was part of the system then. But I don't have time to do it today. I am going to set the record straight. Now I got homework for y'all. It was brought to my attention recently that a senior Guyanese, senior man, right, was detained in the United States for an extended period of 10 days and questioned at length. His phone was seized and eventually returned, and then he was sent back to Guyana. This happened in recent times. Recent times it came to my attention. I wonder who is that person. I got to do your investigation, man. And then I learned too, only yesterday it came to my attention that a certain senior police officer was to be charged sometime back with bigamy. You know what is bigamy? He married and then he married again without divorcing the first partner. With bigamy, and them duck the file, like some time ago, them duck the file. And then when the people come in and tell you all sort of nonsense, You know who's criminal and all that. A senior police officer, was to be charged with bigamy. And the file ducked. Now, this is not a recent case sometime. I now learned of it. Duck. And then the man arrested, not detained, they say arrested in the US by the authorities, questioned at length, and then eventually released. I understand that he was arrested for days. I'll give you a work for do. I follow it up to see. I get a name, but we don't call people name unless I confirm. I get a name. Right? That is what is going on. Now, folks, in terms of looking forward, I know some people have gone off. Let me tell you all this. Good news, bad news. Good news, this thing is bad news. There will be no program on Friday. I have some engagements, and I can't make it on Friday. So the normal Friday afternoon, the program will not be held on Friday. No time on Friday. So let me understand it. I can't hold it tomorrow, I can't hold it Friday, I can't hold it Saturday, I can't hold it Sunday. Now, the next scheduled day will be Monday, and I am trying to work out something for Monday, but I doubt whether I'll be able to make it at the usual time. So y'all listen, Monday, if there is to be a program on Monday, the time or the timings for that program will be communicated to you. Stay tuned. So again, there will be no speaking out Friday, this coming Friday, because of engagement that I can't put off. And then Monday, I doubt whether I'll be able to make it at 11 o'clock Monday morning, but I will do my level best to make it some other time on Monday, perhaps in the afternoon. As soon as I get the timing sorted out, I will post and let you know. Because we don't want these things to be lagging, especially in this season. You got to hear the truth. You have got to be told the truth. And so therefore, I tried everything that I can to see if I could have done the Friday program at some other time. It just can't happen. My schedule doesn't allow it to happen. So folks, I say that to say to you, God spare life. We're gonna see you maybe on Monday. Maybe. In the meanwhile, I implore you to be safe. The roads are dangerous. 16-year-old child walking, stray bullet. Saw an accident this morning somewhere in the East Bank. Some minibus running to the back of a truck. People lying up on the road. Again, I hope and pray that no one is killed in that accident. Saw it going this morning. Every day. And then Robeson and them come in and tell you it's nonsense. It's a good thing elections are 40 days away and we're going to kick them out. It's a good thing. They're going to go packing. Right? So, folks, until we meet, God spare life, I say stay well, be safe, and stay well. Until then, bye.